Good morning and welcome to our Microsoft Word assignment number 2, creating the newsletter. The first thing I'm going to do to start this assignment is I'm going to open up Microsoft Word. It might be in your most used apps, or if you need to search for it, that's fine. You can also type in Word and it should come up as your best match. Once Word opens, we're going to click on the blank document and we're ready to begin our new document, again called creating the newsletter. We're going to create a title for this assignment. It's going to be your name's newsletter columns. In this case, my name is Christopher Rubin, so I'm going to call it Christopher Rubin's newsletter columns. It's always smart to just make sure that we've checked our margins. I'm going to go to page layout, margins, and it should be set to normal so that we have 1 inch on the top, bottom, left, and right. In addition, it's really helpful when I have my Show Hide tab on. So I'm going to go to my Home tab and select my Show Hide tool, and you can see that adds that little paragraph symbol behind it. Press Enter 4 times. This will show that we have 3 blank lines below our title. Let's go back to our title. Let's do a couple of things really quickly before we move on. The first thing I want to do is I want to increase the font size to 36. I can do that by being in the Home tab and changing my font size to size 36. I'm also going to change the font color. I can change the font color to anything I want. Make it something that's interesting to you. And finally, change the font style to something other than Times New Roman. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a font style that keeps my title on just one line. So I can take a second, find one that works for me, and maybe I choose that. I also want to center my title by going to the Paragraph tab and hitting the Center button. Okay, perfect. Also, before we move on, let's go ahead and save this document. I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'll save it on my computer and to my desktop, somewhere I know I'm going to be able to find it easily. And I'm going to call it Rubin, C, Word Lesson 2. And I'm going to hit Save. Now I'm going to need to download a file from our directory. The file is actually attached in Google Classroom and it's named Golf Summary. I'm going to grab this document from my desktop, which I've already downloaded. You can easily download the file from Google Classroom. Once I've opened it, I do need to click on this little tab at the top to enable editing. And I'm going to highlight from the top left corner all the way to the bottom right. And I'm going to copy that text that I just highlighted. I can copy it by either holding down Control and pressing C, or just clicking Copy here in my Home tab. I'm going to close that and I'm going to go back to my Rubin C WordLesson2, which is my newsletter column file. I'm going to paste this text below my title. Again, I can do that by just clicking Paste over here in my clipboard, or sorry, in my toolbar. You should now have 5 paragraphs of text below your title. Select all of the text in the second paragraph. We're going to go through how we can do some formatting instead of to the whole document, but to each individual paragraph. Set your font to Arial. And change the font size to size 10. In addition, just make sure that your font color is black. We're going to left align that text. You can click left align twice just to make sure that it's all aligned here to the left side. We're also going to format this paragraph into 2 columns. To do this, we're going to go to the Page Layout tab. We're going to go to Columns. We're going to scroll down to where it says More Columns, and we're going to change it to 2. We also want to make sure that it's applied only to the selected text, not to the whole document. Once you've made sure that we've set it to 2 columns and selected text only, select OK. Your second paragraph should now be in 2 columns. Now go ahead and select the third paragraph. We're going to change this to have 3 columns with a line in between each column. To do this, we're going to go back to our page layout tab, go to columns, and go to more columns. We're going to select 3 columns, but remember, we want to have a line between each column. To do that, we just need to check this box that says line between, and you can see in the preview how it shows there will now be a line between. If I were to uncheck that box, you'll see the line disappears. Again, click that box so that there's a line between. Make sure that it's applied to only the selected text and hit OK. Now we have 3 columns with a line between each one. Change the font style and color for this paragraph, but do not change the font size. I'm going to go to my font style, and I'm going to choose one that I like. And I'm going to change the color to something different. Now set your fourth paragraph to have as many columns as you have brothers and sisters plus 1. In my case, I only have 1 brother. I have 1 younger brother. So I'm going to go back to my page layout tab, go down to columns, and I'm going to select 2 because I want to have the number of brothers and sisters you have plus 1. So I have 1 brother and sister plus 1, which equals 2 columns. I'm actually going to go to more columns to select that so that I make sure I only apply it to my selected text. Make sure that you do not have a line between each. If you do not have any brothers and sisters, then you will also set this paragraph to 2 columns. If you don't have any brothers or sisters, then set this paragraph to 2 columns with a line between each one. If you have 4 brothers, for example, then you would need to have 4 plus 1, which would be 5 columns. You can do that by changing the number of columns here to 3, 4, 5, or as many as you need. Again, because I only have 1 brother and no sisters, I'm going to take my 1 brother, add 1, and I'll have 2 columns total. Again, I'm going to check that it's applied to the selected text, and I'm going to select OK. Once again, I'm going to change the font style and color for this paragraph to something I like. And I'm going to change the color to something different. The color and style should be different than any of the others that you currently use. For now, we're going to leave the last paragraph alone so it doesn't have any columns. But go ahead and highlight it and just quickly change the font style and color for this paragraph. Again, don't change the size. There's so many different choices that you have here. Take some time to investigate what they are. And I need a different color. And there we go. Now move your cursor back to the top of the page so that it's blinking on the line just below the title. Notice that my cursor is blinking on the line just below the title. We're going to insert a single line border just beneath the title. To do this, we're going to go to our Design tab. We're going to go to our Page Borders tool. We're going to click on the Borders tab. So we're going to click away from Page Border and just to Border. And we're going to choose a color and style option. For me, I'm going to choose this line, this style, and I'm going to choose the same color that I chose for the text. Look in the preview section of the dialog box to make sure that the top border of the box is the only one selected and visible. Notice that right now I have all 4 sides highlighted. I'm going to click on each of these so that only the top border of the box is visible. You should not see a border that looks like a box. It should simply be a single line. Once you've done that and it says apply to paragraph, hit OK, and you'll have that single line underneath your title. Now we're going to take a second and we're going to create a cover page for this document. To do that, we're going to go all the way up to the top of our document. To make sure that you're all the way at the top, you can also hold down Control on your keyboard and push the Home key. That's also on your keyboard. You should see the cursor all the way up at the very top left-hand side of the first line of your document. Go to the Insert tab, and we're going to insert a cover page. When you click on the drop-down menu, you'll see a number of different styles. Choose a style that you like the look of. Where it says document title, we're going to name this All About, Golf. Whoa. All About Golf. Where it says author, you want to put your name. And where it says the company and company address, we're going to go ahead and insert, Menlo Atherton High School. And our address, which happens to be 555 Middlefield Road, Atherton, California, 94027. That gives our cover page a nice professional, but yet simple look. Let's go ahead and take a second and just save our work. To do that, you can either go to File, Save, and it will rewrite the document you already saved so that all of the changes are updated. And you can also always just click on this little purple disk. A third option is you can hold down Control and push S on your keyboard, and you'll be good to go. Now we're going to insert 2 images into your columns. That's page 2. Read the first paragraph. Then go to Google Images and search for an appropriate image, one that fits the topic of the first paragraph. Save this image to your computer by right-clicking it and selecting Save As. I'm going to go to Google Chrome, and I'm going to go to Images, Google Images, and I'm going to search for something that relates to what was in the first paragraph. Because the first paragraph talks about a golf course in Scotland called Musselburgh Links, I'm going to go to my Google Images and I'm just going to look that up. If nothing else, I'm curious what that place might look like. So here it is, a big golf course with a nice clubhouse, and I can scroll through and look for different pictures that look interesting to me. This picture right here looks pretty nice. So I'm going to choose to to save this image, and I'm going to name it Scotland's Musselburgh Links. And I'm going to put it on my desktop for right now so I know right where it is. I'm going to click Save. I'm going to go back to my document, and I'm going to insert this image into my document somewhere in the middle of the first paragraph. So I'll just click right here in the middle of the first paragraph, go to Insert, Picture, I'll go to my desktop where I saved it, and I'll find the image I just chose. I'll click Insert, and there it is. Just like our last file that we worked on when we created a cover page, this image is too large. You can see when we inserted it, though, that we get this Picture Tools Format toolbar. In that, on the right side, we're able to see the size of our image. Look at the height and width of the image. Locate the one that is larger. You can see that on mine, it's 2.84 inches tall and 6.35 inches wide. The 6.35 inches wide is my larger measurement. And because it's my larger measurement, I'm going to change it to 1.5 inches. When I do that, it changes the height automatically. In the Arrange section, I'm going to wrap my text, and I'm going to say type. This should make your image, now we have your image smaller, It's located in the first paragraph, and the text is wrapping around the image. Click and drag your image over to the right so that the right edge of the picture aligns with the right edge of the text. You can see that as I move my image, not only does the text wrap around it, but I also get that green line on the right side that shows me where the margin is. That's a handy tool. I'm going to set my image right there. Now read the fifth paragraph and find and save another appropriate image in Google Images. Because this last paragraph talks about Jack Nicklaus, a famous golfer, I'm going to go back to Google Images, and instead of looking for this first image that I found, I'm going to look for Jack William Nicklaus. When I find an image of him that I like, let's say this one for example, he looks like he's hard at thought, maybe in a competitive frame of mind. I can save the image, and I'll be able to insert it into my document. I want to make sure that I name the image correctly, so I'm going to name it Jack William Nicklaus on my desktop and hit save. That'll make it so that when I go back to my paragraph, it's easy to locate. Similar to the first paragraph, we're going to insert this picture somewhere into the fifth paragraph. To do that, I'm going to go to Insert Picture and find the image that I saved, and I'm going to insert it. We're going to change this settings for this image just as we did before. I want to change the height so that, because that's my larger dimension, to 1.5 inches. And I want to change my text wrapping to tight so that my text wraps around the image. The instructions ask me to move it to the middle of the paragraph so that the text wraps around the image. You should now have two images on your second page, both of them no larger than 1.5 inches. Take a second and save your document. Notice I just clicked the purple floppy disk up in the top of the screen. We can come back and make some adjustments in a little bit to make sure that all of this fits nicely on the page. Before we do that though, let's move on to the next section where we're going to start working with drop caps. What we're going to do here is we're going to set the first letter of the first word in the first paragraph to be a drop cap. To do this, we're going to select just the first letter in the first word of the first paragraph. That's the G in golf. Go to the Insert tab. Select Drop Cap, and then select Drop Cap Options. In here, we want to select Dropped from the different options that we have. We also want to change the font style and make sure that it's dropping 2 lines. So, where it says the font style, I'm going to choose something new. I might choose something that I'm a little bit more familiar with, in this case. And I only want it to drop 2 lines. Once you've done that, select OK. And you will see now my first letter is a drop cap. It drops 2 lines, and it's a different font type. We're going to do the same thing for the second paragraph. To do that, we just highlight the first letter in the first word, which is T. We go up again to drop cap. We go to drop cap options. We're going to change it to dropped, find a new font style, and only drop it 2 lines. Once you have all of your settings correct, click OK. Move to the third paragraph. Click before the first word, and we're going to indent it by pressing the Tab key 1 time at the beginning. Now give the first letter of the first word in this paragraph a drop cap. Notice that I indented it first, highlighted the first letter, went to drop cap, went to drop cap, click drop cap options, went to dropped, change it to 2 lines, and then chose a different font type. Click OK. In general, right, we don't want to give a drop cap to anything that's indented. So let's go ahead and click right back in front of that drop cap and go ahead and return it back to our margin. We're going to give the remaining 2 paragraphs a drop cap, following the same procedure. Drop cap options, dropped, choose a new text type, only 2 lines, and click OK. And that leaves us one last one, the J and Jack, drop cap options, dropped, find a new drop down, and click OK. Now we've given each of our paragraphs a drop cap. That gives our document a sense of formality, and you can often see this in newspaper articles or possibly magazines. Go back to your Home tab. You're going to align each paragraph with a different type of alignment. Remember that all of our alignments are right here in the paragraph drop-down menu. Select all of the text in the first paragraph only. Using the alignment tools on the formatting toolbar, click on the center align icon. We've now centered all of the text in that first paragraph. Now select all of the text in your second paragraph. Make sure that you only select the text in your second paragraph. For this one, we're going to right align our text. For our third paragraph, highlight all of your text. And we're going to justify all of our text. That means that it's going to be spread evenly between the margins. I'm going to do that first for paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and paragraph 5. All right, so now we've changed all of the alignments for each of our paragraphs. Now we're going to work on line spacing. Word automatically sets the line spacing to one line space between each line. Select all of the text in the first paragraph. Do not select any more than you need to. Just to the right of the alignment icons, click on the line spacing pull down and select 1.5 lines. The text will automatically switch from one line space to 1.5 line spaces. You'll notice that the text is now spread out a little further between each line. Now select all of the text and nothing more in the second paragraph. Change the line spacing for only this paragraph to 2.0. Again, you can see that the line spacing between each line is now even more than the spacing in the first paragraph. Now select all of the text in the third paragraph. Click on the line spacing button on the Home tab and select line spacing options. Change the line spacing there to line spacing option. Change the line spacing there to line spacing options. When the dialog box opens, locate the spacing section. Within the spacing section, locate the line spacing drop-down option and click on the arrow. Select exact. Locate the at section and change it to 8 points. Once you've done that, click OK. Don't worry, it's supposed to look squished. Select the text in the fourth paragraph. Click on the line spacing option and choose line spacing options again. Locate the spacing section again and click on the line spacing pull down. Set it to multiple and change the @ option to 3 if it's not already there. Click OK and you'll see that it spaces out your text significantly. Select the last paragraph and change it to 1.5 lines. We've now used different spacing features to space out our document. One of the last things we're going to do with this assignment is work on the headers and footers. A header is a place at the top of each page where you can put something that will appear on every page in your document. A footer is a place at the bottom of every page where you can put something that will appear on every page of your document. Move your cursor somewhere on this second page. Go to the Insert tab and find the header. Select the blank type. You should now see a dashed line at the top of your page. Select the top text box and type your full name. Use the Right Align tool back at the Home tab. Use the Right Align tool to get your cursor to jump to the right side of the header. Double-click below the dashed line to close out of the header. Now scroll up to the top of the cover page. Now that we've completed our header and we've double-clicked out of it, you'll notice that your name is not located on your cover page in the header. That's a good thing, right? Because your name is already on that document. Now let's put a couple of things into the footer. Move your cursor back down somewhere on the second page. Go back to the Insert tab and select the footer option. Select the blank type footer option. And let's actually choose the blank 3 columns footer. On the left-hand side of the footer, let's insert the date by using the Insert Date tab. Right, we used this before. We're just going to go to Insert, Date and Time, and choose a format that you like the look of. On the right side, let's type in golf by and then your name. In the middle, we're going to insert the page number. We can do this by going back to the Insert tab, which we're already clicked in right now, most likely. Go to Page Number, go to Current Position, and then choose Accent Bar 1. We'll need to adjust some things. Scroll up to the bottom of your cover page. And notice that it's put, here, let's click out of this. And actually, this looks really good. If for some reason you saw this on your first page, we'd have to go back and we'd go into the Design tab for the headers and footers, and we would make sure that we click the checkbox and have something different for the first page. We're going to save our work one last time, and now we're ready to submit our assignment. Good job, and I look forward to seeing your finished product.